I call the meeting of the IDA to order. We have myself, Mark Gadd, and Rebecca Ryan, Joe Gazowski, and Tom McCormick. And we may have a member joining us in a few seconds. All right.
And for the record,
Nicole.
and Nicole.
Nicole, that's right. Reading from last year's list. It's- Okay.
So we have, Mr. Chairman, we have in order of the packet for the IDA, the first meeting would be the Governance Committee meeting, followed by the Audit and Finance Committee, and then followed by the board meeting. So there's 3 separate agendas in the packet with supplemental minutes from each group.
So first we have the minutes from the September 10th, 2020. Which is the first thing in the package. If there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Do I have that motion?
Move them as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we are
Yeah, we're still on the Governance Committee, item number 3.
All right, our first order of business is to appoint the governance committee members. If I'm getting this wrong, Jim,
Nope.
quick revision.
You're doing fine.
And it's traditionally all members present have been on the governance committee. Is that correct?
That's what the board has traditionally done. Mhm.
So I would entertain a motion to have all members of the board be appointed to the governance committee. Do I have a second?
Move that, Chairman.
Second.
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, we have the same process for the finance committee members. Again, we use the whole board traditionally to become the finance committee. Do I have a motion to do so? And second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And finally, we have to appoint the appointment board. Is that, do I say that correctly, Jim? Okay,
Appointment of the board officer, yep.
okay, the appointment of board officers committee. Again, we have traditionally had the whole board constitute that committee, and if anybody wants to make a motion to follow that practice, I would entertain
I'll move that.
it.
So I think the motion is to renew the current officer positions as previously were. So the previous officer positions were Mark as the chairman, Doug as vice chairman,
Yes.
Becky as treasurer, and Tom as secretary. So that would be, if the board agrees, would be the slate of officers that you would recommend.
I'd like to move that, Chairman.
All right, do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, are we down to D?
Yes.
Okay. Now, D is the renewal and readoption of governance policies and charter. And that consists of the procurement policy, the acquisition of real property policy, the disposition of real property guidelines, the policy for receipts and accounting, internal controls and auditing complaints, the conflict of interest policy, and the governance committee charter. Does anybody wish to add, subtract, or discuss any of those matters?
Do these have to be voted on separately or can they be voted in a package?
I believe they could be put together.
Package, and I would like to move that all six.
Yeah, just for the record, we did send out a link to the policies to the board ahead of time, so
Yeah.
so you had a chance to review them.
I'd like to
Motion,
move.
do I have a second to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
All right,
Okay. Okay. Now we have to adjourn the governance.
Can we have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank
All
you.
in favor?
all right.
Okay. Now, let's see.
Yeah, we're on to the finance.
Actually,
Yep.
we've been working in the governance committee, but
That-
you just caught on.
That's right.
Your chairman has a firm idea of what's going on. All right, now we're going back to our regular board.
No,
No.
not yet.
No?
Nope.
We got the finance and audit committee meeting next.
I'm not reading the big print. All right, I call to order the Finance and Audit Committee meeting, and we have the same members that we had in the preceding two roll calls. You all have copies of the September minutes. And do I have a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now, there's a preliminary budget for 2022, which I think we have a copy of.
Yes, directly behind the minutes from the finance and audit committee meeting. Looks like this. It says on the top, Wyoming County IDA 2020 proposed budget. Everybody got it?
Yep.
All righty.
And
I'll just touch on a few of the numbers for the proposed budget for 2022. We have Mr. Berwanger joining us. So the very top item for the proposed budget, we're estimating a total of fees earned to come into the IDA at $400,000. I think one of the things that's interesting when you look at going through the proposal of putting a budget together is that you look at your accounts receivables and then you look at what you realistically are going to get in when you close projects. And our accounts receivables that are owed to the IDA for approved projects, once we get them all closed, is almost $170 million of capital investment. So our fee on that would be 1%, or $1.69 million essentially will be the fee that will be coming once we get all these projects closed. And we've been working diligently with council on getting a number of them closed, but they're without things that come into play after the board approves a project in terms of delaying things, and mostly on the side of the developers is where things get slowed down, especially with solar and things of that nature, and the wind projects and things of that nature.
Bank financing is also a
Yeah.
critical piece.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we estimated the revenue would be about $400,000 for the year. But I just wanted the board to know that our true accounts receivables of projects is in the neighborhood of $170 million of capital projects, which would equate to $1.7 million of revenue that would be coming our way eventually. Under the expenses, there isn't much change. The building lease, as you know, was signed, so that's a 5-year lease number of now $27,768. We did add an item under miscellaneous for strategic plan implementation. The IDA is working with the chamber and tourism on developing a strategic plan for both economic development as well as recreation tourism combined. The board committed $33,000 of money through the BAC to get that done. I'm proposing that we add $5,000 into the IDA budget to help with the implementation of that plan once it's complete. So everything else kind of remains about the same, just some minor increases based on possibly inflation or increased costs. So there's nothing really that jumps out, other than I did add, and down on the bottom under the special fund allocation, a project fund of $120,000. I thought if we got some more revenue in than we're expecting for the coming year, we might use that maybe to look at some additional land investments or help with maybe some infrastructure for current land that we have to get the sites more shovel ready. So I put that item in there. So I would present that to the Finance and Audit Committee as a proposed budget for the IDA.
Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the proposed budget as presented. And second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have to review and readopt the finance and audit policies. And again, those are on the internet, I believe. And I don't think there are any changes from last year. So if there's no discussion, I will entertain a motion to do so.
Move it. Okay.
And second,
We skipped C.
Second.
all in favor?
3B, C, and D.
Are you all second or?
That was a vote on number 4, correct? Did we finish 3B, C, and D?
For the
But we did the budget
Okay.
under 3A.
Am I now looking at the wrong
I
meeting
think
list?
you're-
I probably am.
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
at
Sorry.
finance and audit.
See, it's the lawyers, right? I can't read today.
Okay, so
Sorry about that, Chairman.
3B that we just did for the policies
3B.
Yes.
was,
On the audit.
That's right.
Finance committee meeting.
yes, so who was the motion, please? Tom, and second?
And I second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, great, thanks.
Oh,
I will
Was there on
adjourn the,
TV?
It's
if
awesome.
there's no further business, we will adjourn the finance audit committee meeting.
We have a motion, please?
What?
We need a motion for the adjourn.
I'll move to close.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion?
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
The good news is the committees are done for the IDA. right?
Oh, my God.
Now we're going to our regular meeting, is that correct?
That's it.
Okay. We have the same members present as far as quorum. And we have the minutes from the August 12th meeting. And they're all part of the package. Are there any discussions or questions about those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them as presented. For any such motion.
So,
Nicole and Tom? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We also have the financial report for August 2021. I know Robin's not here, but it's anything we should pay any particular attention to.
Jennifer is going to pinch
Sure,
hit for
I can
Robin on
do
that
that.
one.
Okay, we started the month of August with a little over 968,435 in cash and 1,514,183 in investments. We had income of $225.09, and our expenses for the month were $21,546.57. There were other disbursements of $165 as listed. And we ended the month of August with a total of $2,461,131.70 in cash and invested funds. And if you'd like to flip over, that is the IDA operating budget report for as of August of 2021.
Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financial report as presented.
I'll move to approve the.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, turning to 3A. This is the board itself approving the appointments to the grievance committee, is that correct?
Yeah, these are the,
Governance, I should say.
yeah, right.
I was thinking the lawyers worry about the grievance. Okay. And can we combine that with 3B for the Finance and Audit Committee?
Yes.
I move that, Mr. Chairman.
Well, he's not done. He's got to
I want to put C
C and D.
and
He's gonna,
D, all, A through D.
Move that.
Are they included in your motion?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then moving on to 4, A and B. A again being to approve, adopt, and readopt policies and charter as recommended. And B to approve and adopt the primary budget for 2022. Do I have a motion to approve both of those?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And now, I turn this over to Jim for the
yeah,
fair justice.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. In your packet, there's an application summary from Beer Justice. We have one of the owners, Paul Romesser, sitting out in the lobby. We'll bring him in shortly. I just wanted to provide a quick overview of the project. Essentially, he's looking to start a microbrewery in the town of Arcade in the former Domes' gift shop on the corner of Herdville and Route 39. They're expecting to create over 6 jobs over the next 3 years. They're going to be making some significant investments in the project, a total of $750,000 to convert the building into a brew facility. This project does have a small retail component, which, as you know, is must be kept under 1/3 of the total capital costs of a project. We did vet that. It does come in at less than 1/3. So 2/3 of the costs of the project are associated with the brewing and the manufacturing and the wholesale and distribution of beer. So without getting into any more details and stealing any thunder from Mr. Paul Romesser, I would jump to kind of the incentive page, if you will. So we've run the numbers, and because this would be a standard pilot, a 10-year pilot, we're looking at a property tax exemption over the 10 years, a savings of $32,000, the sales tax exemption of $27,000. Most of the brewing equipment and everything is subject to sales tax, even though it's being used for manufacturing of beer. They're also seeking a mortgage recording tax exemption. So this is the application for, and also attached, council has provided a resolution, which we will act on after the developer gives his presentation. This is kind of a 2-pronged project for Beer Justice. Not only are they coming to the IDA for a lease arrangement, they are also making the application to the BAC under the GAIN loan program, which is the agricultural program, because they're going to be sourcing a lot of raw materials from New York State for the making of their products. So I'm gonna have Mr. Romester come in and address the IDA board about that, and then we're gonna turn him loose, and when we get to the BAC meeting, we can deal with the loan portion of the project, so.
We're ready. Good.
Hi, Paul. You get the head of the table or the foot of the table, whichever you prefer.
We watch on camera.
Yes, you are, you are being live streamed, so if you want to say hi to your wife while you're sitting there, you can do that. So this is Paul Romester, and Paul is, I don't want to steal your introduction because I think you do a better job of knowing who you are and what you do, but you've been working on developing this project, a microbrewery project in the town of Arcade, and have applied to the IDA for help. So I will turn it over to you, Paul, and you can address the board.
Thanks everyone for taking the time to allow me to pitch my project, I guess. I also want to apologize for my wife, Tammy, who is also my partner in this venture. She can't be here today. She's the teacher at Lexworth School, and it's her first day with kids, and she felt important obviously to greet the kids and set our expectations. As well as she only gets a couple of personal days per year, and we're taking off tomorrow and Monday because our daughter just got back in the state from Kabul. So we're running the Parker Airport, and so we call it before the OCers. Sorry. Thanks.
Paul, you mentioned that she was like on one of the last 3 flights to get out.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, so
It was a tough 3 or 4 weeks. I'm a retired Marine, so it's different when you're serving and then having your child. It's totally, yeah.
So maybe, Paul, you could share with the board your current occupation and what you do as your part-time occupation.
Okay, so I am currently the Deputy Director for New York State Veteran Services. I supervise the western half of the state, basically west of Albany. My wife is, as I mentioned, a teacher. She originally started out as an accountant. When we had kids, she decided to stay home with kids and pursue teaching, so she'd be home when the kids were home. She was initially a business teacher and then transitioned to family and consumer science, which we knew was home ec in school. She's actually the brains behind all this, and I'm more the brawn. She has a mind for, for business for sure. So why a brewery? Jamie and I have been brewery connoisseurs for several years. When I was retiring from the Marines in 2008, we're driving through East Aurora on Main Street, and there's a building for sale. And my wife said, "You go to breweries all the time, and she opened a brewery." I don't recall this story, but she quickly reminds me often about how my response was, breweries are a fad, they're never going to sustain. Well, as we see, breweries are just flourishing everywhere. So that was the reason why we decided to go to the brewery. We both been retiring in 4 to 5 years, what our plan was until COVID hit. We realized that we cannot retire, that we need to be busy. My wife's a person needs to be busy 24/7 or a life's not being fulfilled. So we decided the brewery. Why Beer Justice Brewing is I am currently am a town justice in the town of Shelton. So I wanted a court theme for the brewery. So it's going to be Beer Justice. We're going to have different things for the court in there, as well as like a photo booth for like keep your picture with a rap sheet kind of thing.
I'm mad at that. Familiar with it.
In Y Arcade, we initially were looking JV/Arcade area, and Don Sheener, if you guys know her, she's now the mayor of the village of Arcade. She was trying to persuade me to come a little east and go to Arcade, which my wife's originally from Arcade, I'm from Delavan, both graduated from Pioneer High School. It's where we want to be. It's a community that really needs a brewery, to be honest with you. I don't know if any of you guys ever go to breweries, but it's not like a bar where people sit there and get drunk all day. It's all about an atmosphere in a community. We want it family oriented. We're going to have, and this is one of my concepts is different than most breweries. Most breweries, or several breweries, will offer discounts for military veterans, which I'm obviously going to do every day. But I'm also going to recognize people that keep Wyoming County and basically our country held together. And so I'm going to have like teacher appreciation nights, labor nights, truck driver nights, health workers, all people that don't normally get recognized for what they do. So I'm gonna do that as well. We're gonna have a little beer garden out to one side, maybe have acoustic guitars at some point. It's gonna be a great venue for, an arcade for, like local businesses, if they need to have a meeting place for, as a venue for, to have meetings that, for whether it be customers or for their employees. I don't know, what else? I don't really like public speaking so much.
You did, fine.
Well, I'm the supervisor.
As a brewer writer, so I heard your name forever.
So, is this gonna be in the house or in the store?
It's gonna be in the store. So, Tammy and I are gonna move into the house initially. It wasn't a part of our original plan, until we're gonna build that in Arcade. We're gonna eventually build them, also buying another house in Arcade.
In the town of Arcade,
In
right?
the town of Arcade,
Okay.
correct. So those 2 units that are in the house now, which one's an apartment and one's just a loft space, we're gonna make those probably Airbnbs. For people to come and enjoy the breweries are great, so it brings in a lot of tourist people into an area. I'm always amazed every brewery I go to, how packed they are, no matter what day of the week they are, it's always packed. There's not always good beer at all this place. I hope, when I make good beer. So I did go through schools to become a brewer and distiller within the past year. Just remaining my GI goals. Hope to make good beer.
He also did some interning with some of our local breweries.
I did at Windy Brew. I'm trying to intern through Batavia as well. We're getting ready to have a little more time for you.
So you stole all the company secrets and.
No, not at all. No, there's just a void in Arcade.
Right, there is.
For
I drove through town last night, I went for supper up at the golf course.
Okay.
Other than that, there's nothing around here.
besides the VFW.
Unbelievable. And the VFW is closed
Right.
3 or 4 days a week, so.
And you are doing food, Paul?
Yes. As a matter of fact, I was brought up at the meeting last night. One of the neighbors was concerned with the smells from the food, and it's like, we're not doing fryers, we're not doing a grill. It's going to be all convection up.
Yeah, but a meeting with the village last
We
week.
did.
Okay.
Well, it went well. There were a couple concerns about that.
Sure.
The smells. I was like, okay. No, we're not gonna, it's not even gonna, the person that was there lives quite ways down the road. But
Maybe they're afraid of making hungry.
But they were very nice people, and I'm sure they'll be there often. Yeah, we are gonna have food like pizza, paninis, baked chicken wings, light fare.
Great.
We're excited. Scared, but excited.
I also mentioned to the board, there's a financing piece to this, in which you're gonna look to our organization for some funding, as well as maybe you could talk about the other piece of the financing with the bank.
Yeah, so that's more my wife's thing, but yeah, they're borrowing a considerable amount of money through the SBA, Small Business Administration. I think it is on the veteran side, it's called 70, I believe, for veterans, part of the loan, as well as M&T Bank. We're the only investors. We haven't received any other grants, there haven't been any other grants. That's kind of where we're at. We considered at one point doing investors, but then we really wanted to do our own thing. Yeah, we both work really hard, and we know we're going to be successful. So we'll make it work.
Then they have it.
When do you hope to open?
We hope to open in June,
22.
about 22, correct?
June.
Yes, like a soft opening of late around like Memorial Day, if get everything in place. I think that's
Probably a good time for new investors.
yes. Hiring all local contractors, result.
What's the seating capacity?
99, I think.
Oh, pretty big.
Yeah, I think it's 99 overall.
The other interesting stat is 1 mile from my house, so it's walking distance.
It's hard getting back to you, but you
It's
coming down.
it's all uphill, right?
Mick Allen walked home one time. VFW. It's not easier to come down than it was.
All right, any other questions for Paul? Otherwise, we'll get him back to work.
I appreciate it.
I just want to say thank you for your service, your daughter.
My son's also, he flies, he operates, he's a captain in the Marine Corps. And
As a
I-
family, thank you for
It
the
is.
service.
and my younger son's a aspiring musician, he's touring Texas.
Good.
Hopefully, he does well too. Thanks everybody
Nice
for your time.
to meet you.
Appreciate it.
If there's no further discussion, I will move right to the resolution which is attached. For package.
Just a question, it says Perrysburg, but Arcade, he's really Arcade,
That's where they currently live.
oh, that's what it
They have their house sold.
okay.
They're looking at a total investment, which is about $750,000.
That's correct.
You say you went to Pioneer School?
Mhm.
High school,
Why wasn't he in Attica? That's what puzzled me. Perrysburg?
Perrysburg.
Well,
Oh, that's where him and his wife live now. He was originally from Delavan. Yeah.
There are a
Yeah,
ton of roadmasters up there.
yeah, but that's not, I don't know if that, how you pronounce his name,
Maybe
it's
it's a little different.
a little different spelling.
Okay.
Pretty impressive couple they are, both of them. I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to meet the wife, but she is definitely sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does not,
That's good
and
to hear.
she does not sit still.
No, I know she.
He's right.
Anything else, folks? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution that is attached to the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You have a very short annual report. These folks are within 7 minutes.
Lunch is supposed to be coming too, so if it gets delivered outside the door, take one with you. But
Okay.
this is our annual report we wanted to put in front of the board. I did an executive summary of the year. Obviously, we're still dealing with COVID, and one would assume that it would negatively impacted our economy and our economic development projects, but it's quite the contrary. It is one of the busiest years that we have had in probably a decade. We did a lot, as you know, throughout the year to make sure our businesses that we serve sustained themselves and stayed in business. We did loan deferrals, a variety of things to keep our businesses going. And I don't think we have lost any of them that I'm aware of. And obviously, we have a great staff that we work with, Robin and Jennifer and Scott, since he came on as an employee, have done a lot to help contribute overall to the success of the IDA. Just a couple quick things to point to the board. On page 2, you can see the project activity that we had from 2021. And when I said it's the most we've had in 10 years, there's a graph that kind of shows that for you. On page 3, there's a chart also showing the project investments by the year. So 2021, obviously, we have a ways to go yet, so that number is going to continue to go up. There's some quick summaries that Robin put in place for the projects, including Indus, the Microtel in Warsaw, JC Equipment, and the manufacturing of their power lift doors, eight new jobs with that project. The Orangeville Energy Storage Project is almost complete. So that's one project we're going to be closing out real soon and hope to have some revenue coming in from that. The Alley Cat project, that's a $72 million project. That one is slowed by a number of factors. Probably the biggest barrier is Cattaraugus County.
Actually, the IDA.
The IDA itself, yeah, they refuse to step in with.
We're on TV.
So that's a huge project. Duke Energy is the Bennington project. That is a almost a $24 million project. The board approved that quite a while ago. What's delaying that is their ability to successfully secure a block of energy for NYSERDA. They sent it out for bid. So the company now is going to hook up with Sun East, with the other solar project that the board approved, who's been very successful with NYSERDA. So they're hoping that partnership will get that one off the ground. The Delaware River solar projects are the 4 individual Pike projects collectively. It's 12.5 or 6 megawatts and $25.7 million in capital investment in the town of Pike. There's the Sun East Highview project on page 7. It's a $20 million project, 20 megawatts, the board approved recently. On page 8 are some projects in the work. Kelly's Garage is dealing with some local zoning issues before we can get moving on that one again. On page 9, we have Hillcrest. His project is under construction over in Attica. It's a warehouse project, $900,000 of capital investment.
A lot of cement every morning.
It goes right by the house, right? The Calkenna project is the Dream Lake Campground project. We're getting close to getting that one complete in terms of the loan portion that we are working on. So that's a sizable project as well. Draskow's project on page 11, the board approved the $690,000 of capital investment. Lexworth Base Camp is Mike Bellamy's project on Main Street in Perry. He's kind of holding out a little bit on that to see if this DRI application they're going to submit for Perry will come into play. So that one's kind of on idle, if you will. The Lexworth Valley Campgrounds is the Tulsa of the town of Pike. Significant investment that's being made there, $1.2 million, 4 full-time jobs, 4 part-time jobs, and a property comes back on the tax roll because it was owned by a church.
That was called acres, right, Jim?
That's correct. And on page,
Right next to the fairgrounds?
it backs up to it, yeah. On page 13, there's a few projects that we've listed that will be hopefully incoming. Silver Lake Solar in the town of Castile, a 20 megawatt project, or 24.99 megawatt. TTI Light Industrial from Perry, they're talking about building a new building in the town of Perry, 1.2 million. And then we're still working with the hotel developer in Arcade on the project for the IDA property that we own. On the bottom of page 13 are some of the administrative accomplishments. The IDA administers 3 economic development organizations, the IDA, the BAC, the Business Center. And so we do everything from soup to nuts when it comes to entrepreneurship to, energy projects. And it's just a very all-encompassing type of administrative duties come in because of that factor. I'm going to jump to page 14. We've combined the IDA annual report with the Business Assistance Corporation report. Starting on page 15 includes the gain loan that we did for Boxler Maple project. And if you've been by that facility on 20A as you're leaving Varysburg headed west, you can see the progress that's been made there. These are projects that the board has committed to that have not yet closed. Again, the Dream Lake Campground, $200,000, Lexworth Valley Campgrounds, $200,000, $490,000 has been committed to the Arcade and Attica Railroad for a grant anticipation note to cover the upfront money needed to install the safety gate in the town of Java. I think that project's supposed to start this fall, correct, Doug? So page 17 shows, again, a quick chart of the loans in comparison to other years, and you can see the activity that we're having. And we also included on there the Beer Justice project that the board just approved. And we are also going to be taking on, with cooperation with the county, the Community Renewal Microenterprise Grant of $300,000. So that's some of the activities that we're looking to. And then I guess I would just skip to maybe like the very last page. I think the board always finds it interesting to see the list of projects that we are currently serving. So you can see there are a total of 26 projects still in pilots throughout the county. We, the last couple of years, have put 6 of them back on the tax rolls fully. And there's a list of pending projects and then the loan list there as well. So I would present that to the board as the annual report. very busy year.
We should make sure, as I think we've talked about every year, copies of this get circulated with the board of supervisors and anybody else. Do you think it's appropriate?
Yeah, we are,
Shouldn't
actually,
just take it on, because people don't know about it.
yeah, every year I give this report to the planning committee of the board of supervisors. So we'll get it on the agenda.
Can we have a motion, please, to approve it?
Do I have such a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Judge, before we go on, Jim, are you aware of this project that was presented in the finance committee? It's in Attica. But there's no, according to that, the pilots are going to be negotiated individually with every taxing jurisdiction.
Yeah, I reached out to Maplewood early in the process and talked to them about how much more efficient it is to go through an IDA than approach 3 taxing jurisdictions and try to negotiate pilots. They chose the direction to do that instead, and which kind of limits their pilots are limited to 15 years going that route. And then again, they have to work out the host agreements individually. And then they got to administer their own program. No one's going to be providing oversight of billings and,
School turned it down, you know that.
no, I do not know that. Well, that's what, when I first talked to them, I said, the school has opted out of the 487 real property tax exemption. And they said, well, we're going to get the school to go back in. And I don't know if they did or not, but.
I don't think so. That's the scuttlebutt I heard.
So it wasn't for lack of trying, Doug, to reach out to them.
I hadn't heard about it, so, and, I'm looking through this. Becky and I talked about it at the finance committee, being aware, I said pilots, then I looked through it and I see, they're gonna do their own pilots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, well, good luck.
good luck with it.
How old is this?
We got it Tuesday.
Yeah.
They're taking with you.
Right?
Absolutely.
Everybody in the coffee shop's
They're
interested.
gonna wanna read it.
I had conversations with Sarah as well. Right. So this is probably the only one.
Well, I guess my point on any of this is the pilots that the wind projects brought was very good for the IDA in the county. And you look at how much what'd you say, 100 and some million?
$170 million worth of.
That wouldn't be here without that. And that's because of the pilot. So this pilot might be okay for them, but it isn't gonna benefit everybody.
Right.
And I would say the same thing to Cattaraugus County. I've talked to a couple of their legislators, friends of mine. They want to hear it. So that's what's holding up this
The alley cat.
alley cat project.
Could you educate us on pilots and what that means and why it's the advantages or disadvantages of what you're talking about, pilots versus going through IDA?
Well, Jim just talked about it.
Yeah, we are, the IDA can actually supersede all the taxing jurisdictions by coming in and
Okay.
doing a pilot. And if they choose to go on their own, then they try to work out a pilot arrangement with each of the taxing jurisdictions, with the town and the school and the county. And like I said, our terms are normally 20 years. They go through the state process. It's going to be 15. And, it's just, logistically, it's a nightmare, because I think what they don't understand is on the backside of things is somebody has to administer and monitor and manage these projects for 15 years.
Watched by the state.
Yeah, and
And it's 15 years too.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So whoever at the local level approves these, then, they're on the hook for doing all the administrative stuff. It's not going to be the IDA providing oversight on them.
And for the good of the rest of the county,
Mhm.
nobody gets hurt.
Right.
Right.
I mean, all these projects that Jim has listed here,
Mhm.
they're all scattered throughout the county.
Right,
So it's been a benefit to everybody,
right,
not just the town that it's in.
I get it. All right,
And when you start talking at 1%,
yeah,
117 million, that should be a big number.
yeah.
And it's reinvested.
And exactly, it continues to be reinvested.
Right. Buy more land, whatever, just it goes right back into economic development.
So it's been a huge benefit to Wyoming County because when it first started, they operated on a $125,000 a year line of credit
Right.
from the county, which Eric Dan, the judge's younger brother, had a big problem with because it was illegal, I guess. But maybe it wasn't that. I gotta be careful what I'm saying.
Yes.
But as time went on, we got up to, I guess, 500,000 dollars line of credit.
Yeah.
Now we're at 117 million.
Yeah.
That would have never happened
Right.
under the old format.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a big proponent of these pilot agreements with these big companies.
Any update on Great Lakes cheese, any more for the development?
They're spending all their time concentrating on Cattaraugus County.
Mr. Chairman.
I better get jammed up with that.
A state meeting.
I have no idea where that's a photograph.
I know.
I asked Cale that. I said, Cale, is this something in Attica?
Where's the?
He goes, oh, no, I don't
Where's
know.
the-
Well, he didn't even know the thing was going on.
Let's see.
No, I thought it was Attica or something.
Okay, we should talk about it after the meeting.
There's an golf
But
clubs
yeah.
over here. There's streams and traps. Trust
Can you
me,
get them more?
no such thing as Attica.
That's yours.
Who is here?
Thank you.
Grab something, yes, please. So we just need a motion to adjourn the meeting and then we can turn the camera off.
Right. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.